This is Umar for BoxNation in association with Global Next Trade, and I was just saying to Rob, obviously had the night of his career, just like your man Fabio. Has it all sunk in yet? Knocking out the second best, heavyweight in the world on paper going into that fight. Has the feeling sunk in yet, Rob?
About today, we're still on cloud nine. Yeah, we're still buzzing over it, the whole team. Yeah, we just can't get over it. Yeah, we're just still buzzing. Obviously, Fab's so relaxed about it, as you know he is. But yeah, we're just still all on cloud nine.
Well, I watched that piece with Derek Chisora and David Adelaide in the preview to the fight on Sun Sport, and according to Derek, you would get the sack if it didn't go your way.
Well, I've still got my job. According to Derek, if we lost, I wouldn't have my job as well. But so, fortunately for us, I've still got my job. I was going to go up to Derek and say that, but I thought, I'm a little bit too scared to say that.
Mind you, Derek is actually one of the very, very few people within boxing that picked Fabio to beat Joseph. Obviously, Derek's fought Joseph twice. He's done, according to him, over 200 rounds with Fabio. And he did outright say Fabio would beat him. And as I said, he was one of the very few people to do so. Does it make it even more special, Rob, that the fact that 99% of people wrote Fabio off in this? Just picking this back up with Rob, bit of a malfunction there.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
It's a bit like how when Fabio's in the ring, it's just backwards and forwards.
Drama all over the place. Yeah.
Rob, I was just saying before it broke up, how much more was it special that the fact that the industry wrote you off?
Well, to be fair, as you just picking up on what you said, Derek was, I know he said I might lose my job, but he was one of the only people, the experts that was saying that Fab could win. Everyone was had us written off, and Derek was the only one saying that. But we knew as a team that we could beat Joseph Parker. We knew as a team from a couple of years ago. That's the fight me, Ben, and Lee Wiley were talking about after the David Adelaide fight. It was something that we always wanted to do, and then Joseph went on that incredible run uh, and we fought Frazier twice, and then we fought Justice Uni at Portman Road. But it was always in the back of our minds that we wanted to fight Joseph Parker. And I get why we were written off as underdogs. I get it because he went on that incredible run against three good boxers at the time. So yeah, I totally get it. But we always knew that in our belief was that this was the right fight for us.
So the first round happens. Joseph Parker starts tremendously well. What was said in the corner after the first round, Rob?
Just stick to the game plan. Ben, Lee, and myself were just saying stick to the game plan. Try and draw him onto the shots. Get him going just from there. Just stick to the game plan. And I think you could see that in the second round. Fab caught him with a hell of a shot when Joseph threw a shot. We took the shot on, caught him with the right hand, and the gum shield come out. And I think if we had a little bit more time in that round, it may not have gone as long. But all fair credit to Joey, come out and he upped his game after that.
Yeah, but to be fair though, after four, I thought it was nip and tuck, and
Yeah,
then I thought Joseph was taking over. So as the rounds were going, 5, 6, 7, 8, what were the instructions then? And did you guys expect really Joe to kind of have a bit of form like that in the middle of the fight?
I think his form in the middle of the fight was brilliant. I think he picked up very well. Take no credit from him. We weren't panicked at all. We were like, I feel like we were still, I know people saying Joseph was running away with the rounds, but I think it was the last 30, 40 seconds of the round he'd come on strong. I think Fab, like with the start of the round, Fab was sticking to the game plan, boxing very well. One of the best Fab box in recent fights as well. I think Fab boxed very, very well. And I think it was just like we could see Joseph was getting tired as the rounds went on. I think from about 8 or 9, Ben said to him, just keep it on, relax. And we could see Joseph was getting very tired.
Now, watching it live, I'm talking about the ending here. There was actually arguments being made ringside that the fight was stopped too late because we hadn't seen Joseph Parker really return properly for a good 30 to 40 seconds. And of course, Fabio was missing with a lot of shots, but that Joseph Parker was on the ropes, leaning back. He wasn't clinching, he didn't take a knee, and therefore the referees obviously looked at it and made a decision in a split second there to protect Joseph Parker. If Fabio landed one big more right hand, it could have been really dangerous. I think if you watch the 10 seconds back of the ending, then it looks like the fight was stopped too early because you see Fabio throw 3 shots and miss with 2 and Parker rolls them. So, do you see both arguments there?
Of course, for the referee, you're doomed if you're damned, and you're damned if you don't. And honestly, I can see what the British public are saying and the experts are saying, but I would rather it be too early than too late. I do believe that Joseph was not recovered after the 10th round. Fab caught him with a slip uppercut and put the pressure on. In the end of the 10th round, when the bell went, Joseph was going back to his stool a little bit on shaky legs. And when he come out for the 11th round, we knew we were going to go for it there. We saw this as well. And all credit to Joseph. He's a warrior. He's never, ever, ever going to back down. And I can just see if they're going to say it's too early or too late. I think, maybe the right time. Obviously, if everyone's going, oh, like, what they want to see, what do people want to see? Joseph at the canvas. He's got a family. He's got 6 children. I think it was stopped at the right time, but I can understand where people are saying that it was stopped too early.
Okay. Now, of course, everyone's talking about your guy going in with Oleksandr Usyk for all the marbles, all the 4 belts, which is quite even remarkable to say out loud, um, about Fabio Wardley. But it's a credit to him, credit to you guys who've all put
Yeah.
in the work, countless work over the years. Um, there is also now a fraction of people saying, well, the Parker rematch should happen. What would your response be to that, Rob?
I can see that again. If Parker, because of the stoppage and the early stoppage, people want to see that run again, and maybe we can do that in the future. I think Fab's earned the rights to fight Usyk, and I think he goes in there with nothing to lose. He's got everything to gain. No one's again. He's going to be written off if he can't beat Usyk, but what's he got to lose? What's he got to lose? He's got, he keeps proving people wrong. He go in there full of confidence, and he hasn't faced anyone like Usyk, but I don't think Usyk's faced anyone like Fabio, the unorthodox style he has. Fabio's got, something in boxing which you can't buy. Heart, determination, grit. He doesn't give up, and he's got a granite chin, which I don't like to see it tested, but it is being tested. And, he doesn't know how to lose. So I think that fight sells a lot better than if Joe. I know everyone wants to see Joseph and Usyk, but I think Wembley, Fabio and Usyk. Usyk likes coming to Wembley and trying to beat up Brits. So I think that's the perfect fight to make against someone who's unbeaten. And I think that'd be the correct fight to make at this time.
Yeah, look, no one can argue with the point about Fabio's chin. We saw it in the first Fraser Clark fight, the Justice Honey fight, the Joseph Parker fight more recently. I think with Alexander Usyk, it's not just the chin test though; it's the mental test, the exertion he puts on his opponents. You've got to be extremely fit mentally and physically to cope with Alexander Usyk. So, your preparations, Rob, I'm guessing, going to be completely different if this Alexander Usyk fight happens.
100%, 100%. We have the best boxing brains, I think, in Britain with Ben Davison and Lee Wiley, and we will come up with some game plan to try and nullify Usyk, and we'll see how it goes. I think we have as much chance as anyone else. I think he's the all-time great, pound for pound, the best. But it's the confidence of Fab. Fab will go in there thinking 100% he's going to beat Usyk and knock him out. Look, I think Usyk's a masterclass, but what happens if Fab lands? He's got that equalizer in either hand. I think it's an exciting fight, and we can't ready to roll up our sleeves and dig in and get it on.
Yeah, don't blame you. You've earned that shot. Everyone was calling for Usyk Parker. He's just knocked out Parker, so it's only right. Um, what do you think, Rob? Though Fabio can do different than that Dubois, Fury, and Joshua all tried twice. What can Fabio offer that's different?
I think people haven't seen Fab's boxing skill because he always gets drawn into a war, and I know the Wardley, he loves it. He loves a war, But Fab's got good boxing skill, and Fab's very quick, very athletic, got good reflexes, and he's very fast. And if you can look at some of his earlier fights as well, he's very fast as well. I think Usyk, I think Usyk will look at these fights and think, you know. there's two Fabios that you could see in fights from his early career and now, and I think this fight, if we can combine the both, I think it's going to be a very, very hard night for Usyk. Don't get me wrong, the challenge is going to be mind blowing, but yeah, I think I think he's not facing anyone like Fab, and no one's solved the puzzle that is Fabio Wardley yet.
Rob, you realise if Fabio goes on this run of beating Clark, Honey, Parker, and then Usyk, which is obviously a massive if he beats Usyk, but if he does it, it's then Lennox Lewis and Fabio Wardley. You're talking about that caliber of fighter from this
Yeah,
country ever.
well, you got to think Lennox Lewis 1999 was the undisputed when he beat Evander Holyfield. Then before Lennox Lewis is 100 years before that. I said that to Fab in the car the other day, and I was like, you think about that as well. You are going to be, if you pull off the unthinkable, which everyone thinks is the unthinkable, you are going to be in the history books from, being undisputed since Lennox Lewis 1999. The only one this century he's been doing it. Then it was 100 years before Lennox Lewis. So wow, if that doesn't get you up in the morning ready for this, then what does?
Rob, something I want to pick up as well. Look, with the Clark knockout, the Honey knockout, the ending for the Parker fight, it all came to the chin. He finished them upstairs. Um, I thought his body work in this recent fight with Joseph Parker was very good, and it isn't really being picked up on with the jab, with the right hand. I think Fabio was doing some really good body work there, which may have tired Parker out towards the end. We know Usyk's not the biggest fan to the body. I mean, Daniel Dubois did show that in his, in the first fight, especially in Poland. Is that something obviously you're going to target if Fabio and Usyk meet the body?
2000% is setting up a shot to get the body shot off against Usyk, who's a puzzle in himself. I think Fab under Ben and Lee has targeted the body a lot more. You saw it in the Justice Hooney fight. You saw it in the second Frazier fight as well. Before obviously the stoppage, he targeted that body very, very well off the jab, and it's something that he's been working on for the last 18, 20 months doing that. So I think it's going to be something. Obviously, we're not silly. We've seen what Daniel done with Usyk with that shot, so it's going to be something we get off, but it's trying to get it off and how we disguise it to get it off.
Just a last one, and I don't want to talk about Usyk too much because the guys deserve a bit of a break. This has been incredible what
Mm.
you've achieved in this year in May and with Honey and obviously Parker a couple of nights ago. But sparring for Oleksandr Usyk, prepping for him. I mean, how difficult is it to replicate sparring for Oleksandr Usyk? How difficult will that be?
No, we're going to have to search high and low for that. Oh, the good thing is, though, we've got the stable. We have one of the best young southpaws in the stable in the world in Moses Atuma, who's there. So, and he's a bags of tricks alone, So, like, if we need any good sparring, look no further than just where we train every week. So, yeah, that's good sparring. And obviously, there's going to be some other ones we're going to get in as well. But, I think we do need to get the best southpaw sparring. Fab's not faced a southpaw in his career yet, but he always rises to the challenge. And I think sparring with Moses would be amazing, as well as others as well.
It absolutely would be, and yeah, it looks like all roads are leading to Alexander Usyk v Fabio Wardley in the early part of 2026. So let's see if Frank Warren can pull this off.
Fingers crossed, Umar. Fingers crossed. That's what we're hoping for.
Rob, I'll leave the final word to you. Obviously, congratulations again. Incredible that you and Fabio started this journey together, and you're one fight away from the undisputed title. Just want to mention as well, like the amount of people from Ipswich and the club, people from the club itself, high up in the club, were at the O2 supporting Fabio. So I'll leave the final word from you to them.
I just want to say massive thank you to everyone who bought tickets. The support Fab's had from Ipswich and around Britain has been amazing. Hearing all Fabio Wardley sending shivers down our spine. And we can't thank every one of you that made that journey down the A12 to come. And there's still more to come. And God bless you all.
Well done to the whole team, and God bless you as well. We'll speak soon, Rob. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Umar. Thank you.